Hello and good evening to you all. So in this video I am going to address my remarks to the video I uploaded this afternoon of the young woman who was being interviewed on some kind of podcast, and she was talking about how she reported her ex-boyfriend's boyfriend to Child Protection Services, seemingly in the United States, for abusing his children. Now, I'll get into that in a minute, but first I need to stress at this point that nothing about what I'm going to say should be construed as an effort, as an attempt to stop someone raising genuine concerns about a child. Nor am I saying that somebody who is in an abusive relationship should not seek help. And if you have concerns about somebody you know that you feel might be in a difficult situation, by all means, report. If you report, do what you can to try and help, of course. Not saying that for a second. But this video is going to segue into one of the biggest lies that we are told. And one of the biggest lies that is told to our children when they're being talked to at school about domestic abuse. And before I get into that, one of the things you're likely to hear when they're talking about abuse of any kind is, especially when they're talking about girls, is the question of, they'll put the question out, why would they lie? And unfortunately, that particular question is always treated as a rhetorical question, i.e. a question to which nobody expects an answer, and there's no effort made to seek an answer to that question. So if you've got an individual case where somebody has accused somebody else of domestic abuse or sexual abuse, and the accused says this person is lying, the investigators are very, very reluctant to look at any evidence as to why the person making the allegation might be lying. And I will come to why I believe that to be the case probably in the next video. But I need to address this video, this young woman, and what she's done. Arguably, the biggest lie that we are told about domestic abuse and sexual abuse is that false allegations are rare. Now, this young woman seems to have been getting interviewed on a podcast in America. But whether you're in America or Australia or Britain, Europe, wherever, when they tell you that false allegations of this nature are rare, they're lying. When I put that video up this afternoon, somebody put in a comment, "I hope her karma is received." Now, karma tends to mean if you do good things, good will come back to you. If you do bad things, then bad things will come back to you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that if you do something bad, you will face legal consequences, i.e. police, courts, jail. Okay. The question that needs to be asked about this woman is not about whether is karma going to catch up with her. The question you need to ask is why the police haven't done so. Because as far as I'm aware, this young woman has not faced any legal consequences for that admission. Now, for those of my viewers who have been with me for a while, They're aware that I've covered this topic, but for those of you who are new to this channel, I'm going to do a bit of a recap, so bear with me. When somebody tells you that false allegations are rare, and you ask them based on what is that assertion based on, they will almost invariably point to CPS, Crown Prosecution Service data. That's if they're in England. Now, if you're in America, if you're in Scotland, it's a different authority that handles criminal prosecutions. But in England and Wales, it's the Crown Prosecution that handles criminal prosecutions. But for a criminal charge of any kind to reach the Crown Prosecution Service, it has to come through the police, or or a judge has to recommend that a file be passed to the Crown Prosecution Service. So when you see a young woman like this making that allegation, and she is not and there is no evidence that she has been detained by the police for doing so, this is why that claim that false allegations are rare is a lie. Because unlike a regular criminal offence, such as burglary or an assault, which you can phone in and report to the police, false allegations of that nature cannot be reported to the police in quite the same way. In fact, they can't be reported to the police. They can't be reported to the police in the same way as a burglary, for example. And it is for that reason that false allegations rarely get as far as the CPS, and that is why the CPS data on these looks so low, and why it looks as though your teachers and whoever are right when they say false allegations are rare. The reality is, no, they're not. No, they are not. Now, I have done a number of videos about this in the past. And by all means, go and take a look at them. But I also urge you, especially any children watching this, if you can, go on your iPads, go on your tablets, go on go on the internet and read up on this subject, and you will understand why that phrase, false allegations are rare, is a lie. Because, just to make this very, very clear, in order for that kind of data to reach the Crown Prosecution Service, or whatever authority it is that handles prosecutions in your country, it has to go through the police or the courts. And that's why this claim that false allegations are rare is a lie. Now, Hitler himself, in his book Mein Kampf, that means My Struggle, said that in the big lie there is always a certain force of credibility. And it was Hitler that said that. So I want you to take a very... So children, if you're in school and the subject that you're being taught about is domestic abuse, bear this in mind. First of all, that when they say, why would somebody lie about abuse, it's always treated as a rhetorical question and never investigated. And secondly, when they say false allegations are rare and cite prosecutors' data, just remember that it is virtually impossible for the news of a false allegation to reach a prosecutor for that to be included in their data. So if you look at CPS data and see 39 per year, just understand that is the tip of the iceberg, a very big iceberg. Thank you. Please like and share.